Just hours ago, China test-fired a long-range ballistic missile from a nuclear-powered submarine in the South Pacific, sending shockwaves through regional security dynamics. This unprecedented act has prompted immediate protests from Australia, Japan, and New Zealand. Here's what we know. The recent missile test by China has raised alarm bells across the Pacific region, signaling a potential shift in military dynamics. This development is not an isolated event. It follows a series of aggressive military maneuvers by China, including naval drills and airspace incursions, aimed at asserting its dominance in contested waters. China's growing assertiveness has been particularly evident in the South China Sea, a crucial maritime route with significant economic implications. For the U.S. and its allies, including Australia and Japan, this test serves as a stark reminder of the growing threat posed by China's expanding naval capabilities. In response, these nations are anticipated to enhance their undersea surveillance operations significantly, deploying state-of-the-art detection systems and potentially increasing the presence of nuclear submarines to monitor Chinese activities more effectively. The implications of this escalation are profound. Enhanced surveillance could lead to accelerated joint defense initiatives among Pacific nations, fostering closer military cooperation through shared radar networks and undersea monitoring stations. Diplomatically, Western nations are likely to push for a strong condemnation of the missile test at the United Nations Security Council. However, China's veto power may prevent any substantial action from being taken. Economically, some countries may consider imposing sanctions or restrictions on technology transfers related to missile and submarine development. In the medium to long term, if China continues to refine its submarine-launched missile capabilities, it could trigger a new arms race in the region. This would compel neighboring nations to bolster their military capabilities, further destabilizing the strategic balance. The ability to launch long-range missiles from stealthy submarines could alter power dynamics in future conflict scenarios, particularly concerning Taiwan. As tensions escalate, the next steps taken by China will be pivotal in determining the future security landscape in the Pacific. The recent missile test conducted by China marks a pivotal moment in the evolution of military capabilities and the shifting geopolitical landscape. This test is the culmination of a decade-long military modernization program, which has prioritized the enhancement of China's undersea and strategic missile capabilities. Initiated in the early 2010s, China has invested heavily in developing advanced nuclear-powered submarines, such as the Type 094 and the more recent Type 096 models. These advancements not only improve stealth, but also significantly enhance operational endurance, allowing Chinese submarines to undertake extended missions without surfacing. Between 2020 and 2024, China conducted multiple tests of submarine-launched missiles. However, none had been confirmed as long-range or launched from nuclear-powered platforms in the Pacific until now. The years leading up to this test saw a notable acceleration in China's military initiatives, driven in part by strengthening defense ties between the United States and its allies in the Pacific region. Australia's new security agreements with various island nations have particularly heightened China's concerns. Additionally, the political backdrop is crucial, as rising tensions over Taiwan compel China to assert its sovereignty claims more aggressively, displaying an increasing intolerance for perceived external interference. This missile test is not merely a military exercise. It signals that China has solidified its status as a global strategic power capable of projecting military force from deep within the ocean. The implications of this capability are profound, reshaping the geopolitical landscape and compelling neighboring nations to reassess their defense strategies. In the near future, it is likely that regional dynamics will continue to shift, prompting further military developments and strategic alliances as countries respond to China's expanding influence and assertiveness in the Pacific theater. The recent missile test conducted by China marks a pivotal moment in the geopolitical landscape of the Asia-Pacific region. This test represents the first successful launch of a long-range missile from a Chinese submarine, a capability that rivals those of the United States and Russia. Such advancements in military technology underscore China's growing assertiveness on the global stage. The test is not merely a demonstration of military prowess. It poses a direct challenge to the U.S.-led security framework that has governed the Pacific for decades. Contextually, this missile launch comes at a time of heightened tensions between China and its regional neighbors. Japan, Australia, and New Zealand have all expressed formal protests, condemning the act as unacceptable and destabilizing. These nations are particularly concerned about the implications for regional security, especially in light of Australia's recent defense agreements with Pacific Island nations aimed at countering Chinese influence. This strategic alignment reflects a broader shift in alliances as countries in the region seek to bolster their defenses against perceived threats from Beijing. The impact of this missile test extends beyond immediate military concerns. China's capability to launch missiles from nuclear-powered submarines grants it a formidable second strike option, complicating any potential military response from adversaries. This development raises the stakes for regional security, creating a more perilous environment that could lead to miscalculations or unintended escalations. For everyday citizens, the ramifications are profound, as increased military tensions could disrupt trade, travel, and overall stability in the region. The economic implications are significant, as nations rely on stable maritime routes for commerce. Looking ahead, the implications of this test are likely to reverberate through international relations for years to come. The response from the United States and its allies will be critical in shaping the future dynamics of power in the Pacific. As nations reassess their defense strategies and diplomatic approaches, the potential for increased military posturing and arms races looms large. This test signifies a turning point, indicating that the Asia-Pacific region may be entering a new era of heightened military competition, with long-term consequences that could reshape the geopolitical landscape significantly. The need for robust diplomatic engagement and conflict prevention strategies has never been more urgent. On July 6, 2026, the Chinese military executed a significant military maneuver by launching a long-range ballistic missile from one of its nuclear-powered submarines in the South Pacific Ocean. This missile test represents a marked escalation in China's undersea warfare capabilities, occurring from a submerged platform capable of remaining undetected for extended periods. The event was confirmed by Chinese state media, which indicated that the launch coincided with Australia securing new defense agreements with several Pacific Island nations, further heightening tensions in the region. The timing of this test suggests a direct response to perceived threats and shifts in regional power dynamics. Specific details regarding the missile's trajectory and range were not disclosed. However, the implications of such a test are profound. This launch is significant not just because it is a demonstration of military power, but also because it showcases China's ability to strike from covert positions far from its own shores. The South Pacific has become an increasingly contested area, with various nations seeking to assert their influence. This event is unprecedented compared to previous missile tests, as it represents the first confirmed launch of a long-range ballistic missile from a nuclear submarine in this region. The test is viewed as a strategic show of force, aiming to affirm China's emerging global military status and its intentions in the Pacific theater. Analysts suggest that this development could lead to an arms race in the region, prompting neighboring countries to bolster their military capabilities in response. Nations such as Japan and India may feel compelled to enhance their submarine and missile defense systems, increasing overall military expenditures. Looking ahead, the ramifications of this missile test extend beyond immediate military considerations. Diplomatic relations among Pacific nations may become strained as alliances shift in response to China's assertiveness. The international community, particularly the United States, will likely reassess its defense posture in the region to counterbalance China's growing influence. As the geopolitical landscape evolves, it is critical to monitor how these developments will shape future military strategies and alliances in the Pacific. The focus will be on whether diplomatic channels can be maintained to avoid escalating tensions further. China's long-range missile launch from a submarine marks a pivotal moment in military strategy. What will be the repercussions of this act? Share your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe for daily deep dives.